Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedbuilding video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building in the world of Willow Creek, which is one of the base game worlds. I'm going to be building a single mum's family home. So this house has 2 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and it's built on a 20 by 15 lot. I can't remember the last time I sat down and built something on a lot of this size. I'm thinking it was probably my Bridechester, it weren't called the Bridechester, it was called a small family home, which I'm probably going to end up titling this house as well, because I don't know if you've noticed this if you've been here for a while, but I will never seem to nowadays title a video single mum's house, because I don't know what it is, and if someone knows the explanation, please tell me, because it's always baffled me. For some reason the UK and the US have different spellings of the word mum. Like I spell mum with a U, whereas in the US you spell it with a O, and so it just, I never when it comes around to doing a title, if it's a single mum's house, I always get confused on which one to do, so I just avoid it at all costs. But I thought I would introduce it as that, because that is exactly what this house is. I am so excited to sit down and do this voiceover, because I based the storyline for Sims that could possibly live in this house off my current household, and I've never done this before, and I'm just so excited because it kind of gives me an excuse to sit down and talk about my current household, which honestly I could be here till next year, because I am so attached to them and I'm just really excited to get in and start talking about them. I've also been thinking recently, so you know last week if you watched my video I mentioned that I've now got a Discord, which by the way I've now got a Discord. If you want to join it, it will be linked in the description box down below somewhere. Don't feel like you have to, but if you want to then feel free to. But I created some channels last week or something, and it was a channel for you lot to show off your builds and show off your current households and give a little bit of a backstory and whatnot. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's quite inspiring for people to read other people's backstories and what they like to play with in the game. And so I was thinking of the possibility of adding another channel to my channel for me showcasing my current household and then kind of like updating it. Like, you know, how some people will do that on Twitter or something. I was thinking I might do it, but on my Discord. So if you are interested in that, please do let me know, because honestly I would love to do that. I've got so many screenshots of my current household that I could probably go back to when I first created them, because I'm very much a screenshot player. Like I love a good picture. Half the time I take loads and then I barely look at them, but I like to have them just in case I want to look back onto them. But anyway, getting on and talking about the storyline for some Sims that could live in this house. Now I'm going to start it quite early on, because where I'm basing this off my current household, I feel like I'm going to be talking for I'm going to be talking for England, because I honestly could talk about them forever. So I'm going to start it quite early on, so hopefully I don't talk too far into the furnishing of the inside of this house. I always normally, when I do my like backstories, talk about it when I'm doing like the landscaping or the garden or whatever, because I feel like with them kind of aspects of a build they're not as interesting, whereas when you move on into the inside it's a little bit more, you know, detailed. It's like, why did you do that, or like, do you know what I mean? And so I'm going to start talking about it now, and then hopefully I don't talk too much on into the inside. But my current household consists of 2 Sims. We have a mum, which is called Brie, you know, like the cheese, and then I don't know why I said it like that, but we have a single mum called Brie, and then we have her daughter, who is a toddler, or she first started out as a toddler, called Arabella. She has since aged up, she's now a teenager, but you know, when I first created them she was a toddler, and I've designed the bedrooms in this house to be for a parent and then also for a toddler. I think I'm going to talk about them as in like using their first names, because where I've been playing with them for so long, if I just refer to them as, oh yeah, the mum, on oh yeah, the toddler, it feels a bit, I don't know, I feel like I'm just so attached to them. I don't know if you can tell that, but I'm going to use them on a first name basis, so hopefully you don't mind. But it starts the storyline off with Brie the mum. Now I was thinking when I was creating her and creating him, and by the way, I'm building this house to go along with this storyline, so either you create them straight out of cast and you want to move them into here, or you can maybe follow along with their backstory a little bit and then get them to move into here. Completely up to you, but I'm going to tell you the whole thing because yeah, I'm attached to it. But it starts off with the mum Brie. Now I was thinking that she was quite a young mum. I feel like she had a teen pregnancy, and that's why when I created her in, you know, created him, there wasn't a father. I imagine that maybe, you know, maybe she went out when she was young and she, I don't know, stuff happens and she fell pregnant with her daughter. Now I imagine that she's from like a really small town, you know, like StrangerVille, somewhere like that. That is quite small and quiet and out in the out in the sticks, not out in the sticks because it's pretty much out in the rocks in StrangerVille, but somewhere that's just a very secluded area. I imagine that's where she is originally from. Now, I imagine that when she fell pregnant, she instantly decided that she didn't want to stay where she was. She didn't want to, you know, be raised in this hometown, have her daughter be raised there, and then just never leave. And so she decided that she was going to get a little supermarket job. By the way, this was before I actually started gameplay. This was kind of like the idea that I set myself in my head before I actually came in and started playing with them. But I imagined that she went and got herself like a little supermarket job or something while she was pregnant. She earned enough money to be able to put down a deposit for an apartment in the world of San Myshuno, and that's exactly what she did. And then moving her from Creator Sim into this first apartment, that's kind of like where the storyline really starts. Now, to be honest with you, I probably could just cut a long story short and just say she ends up being an author, because, spoiler, she ends up becoming an author. But I didn't want to just create this family and then move them into an apartment, get them to apply for a job, struggle for like a week or something money-wise, and then they're good for money and then I'll get bored of them, because I feel like we all do that so many different times. I've done that so many different times before in the past. I will just move a sim straight into a house, get them a job straight away, like the job that they want you to have, and then I get bored after a while. So I didn't want that to be the case in this. I just kind of wanted my sims to kind of sweat a bit. I wanted them to work for the position that they ended up getting. So Brie and her daughter moved into this apartment, and basically the way that I set it out in my gameplay is I was basically giving myself targets and basically giving myself like a progress tracker. So instead of getting there to move in and, you know, applying for an author position, becoming an author, and then, you know, money's coming in, I didn't want to do it that way. So I decided that instead of just doing that, I was going to get her to have some sort of job. I personally chose a barista job, which actually worked out really well, because I was imagining as well she didn't have enough money to pay for the daycare. And so instead of sending the toddler to daycare for the whole entire day, she would just send her to daycare for 2 hours in the morning while she went and made coffees and stuff. And then after she'd done her morning shift, she'd be able to come home and, you know, look after her daughter. And then when her daughter like would go down for a nap or something, she can then practice her writing skill, because the goal that I set for myself at the beginning was she can't apply for the writing career or like the author career until she has level 5 of that writing skill. It really doesn't seem like that much of a big thing, but honestly, if you're struggling with kind of, you know, like sometimes just picking up the game and just being able to sit down and play and just be inspired, try something like that, because honestly, it made you feel a little bit more proud of your sims, because this is what they want to do. And I mean, they can just technically just go and apply for the job and get the job straight away, because unfortunately in The Sims 4 there's no like interview process. And so basically what I was doing in my head is making it so she would have gone through the interview process. Realistically, if you're going to apply to write a book, like if you're going to become an author, you're not going to be able to come in with absolutely no knowledge about it. So getting her to have a certain set of skills before she applies, it improved my gameplay a lot. But she moved into this apartment. Now basically for a while they were struggling, so they had to get a roommate, and the roommate thing was a whole catastrophe, because some of the roommates that they had were just not very nice sims, I'll put it that way. But they lived in this really small kind of like grubby apartment in San Myshuno for a while, in the spice market. It's the one that's got like rats and leaky pipes and stuff. They lived in that. Eventually Brie kind of got enough money behind her to be able to move out of that current apartment and then move into a separate apartment with just her and her daughter, because when they were living with roommates, basically the apartment that I had only had 2 bedrooms, and so Brie and her daughter would basically share a room. So it would be a completely decorated toddler's room, and then bless her, the mum's bed would literally just be in the corner. It was like a single bed. I felt so bad, but it was just the way the story, it thickens the plot. It really does thicken the plot. So they eventually, after a while, they had enough money to be able to move out of a smelly, grubby apartment, moved into, again, still a smelly and grubby apartment, but it was just them two, and they were happy because they finally had a place for themselves. And then throughout gameplay as well, I was doing things like when she would enter a new chapter in her life, if she was coming into any problems, I would basically get my sim to write a book about it. So the first ever book that she published, because she was eventually, once she got to the level 5 of the writing career and she applied for the job, and she started to get a little bit more money in, she got to a certain point where she was able to write books and then publish them herself, or like sell them to a publisher. And when I was getting her to write these books, I was basically getting her to title the books at whatever had previously happened, you know, the last few days, the last kind of like chapters in her life. So for example, the first book that she ever wrote was called Leaky Pipes and Silverfish, because where they were living in like a really manky apartment, it had, you know, like it had rats, it had leaky pipes. We don't have silverfish, but it sounded like a better title name than rats, and so I decided to go for Leaky Pipes and Silverfish. But when I was going through all the different chapters in their lives, you know, when the daughter would age up, I would, you know, write a book to her, and then it was just all these different things, and it really helped me feel more attached to my Sims. And honestly, I hope at any point this is inspiring you to do a similar thing, because where you're writing books and they're getting published, every single day your Sims are going to get royalties, and if you title them books in kind of like stages of your Sims' lives, you kind of get reminded of them every day, and it's so nice. I know that's a really bad describing word, but it's just so nice to see this little menu pop up on the right hand side, and it's got all the different stages that they've been through. It really does make you feel a little bit more attached to them. Also, something that I was doing along this process is when they were moving from like an apartment to a different apartment, or if Brie got a little bit more money, maybe she got a promotion at work and now she's like level 3 or level 4, what I was doing, instead of just fully fleshing out, say you've got a little bit more money coming into you, realistically you're not going to be like, right, I'm going to redesign my whole entire house. Realistically that doesn't happen. And so what I was doing, which really helped my gameplay, was instead of doing that, I was pretending that they spent a weekend painting the walls, and they put, you know, a fresh lick of paint on the walls, and then I would like upgrade some of the appliances. I would give them maybe like a better sofa. I would, you know, just add smaller soft furnishings that, you know, your Sims have just gone to IKEA at the weekend, they maybe got a little bit more money this week, and so they thought, treat yourself, buy some nice bits of decoration, some nice clutter pieces. I wasn't, you know, fully fleshing out their house every time that they got a little bit more money, and that again helped the storyline telling process, because realistically you don't do that. But after a while, the household were living in this apartment which was in the arts district. This was like their second one. It was their first one of just them two, but then they kind of got enough money, they kind of upgraded, not entirely, because I didn't upgrade like the counters and stuff. I just upgraded it so it'd be like an upgraded coffee machine, maybe the toilet broke, get you a new toilet, stuff like that. And so after a while they kind of built up so much money. I say so much money, that's a bit out there. It's about 20,000 simoleons, but they built up enough money to be able to go and buy themselves an actual house. And so they moved into, if you've seen it, and I've referenced it at the start of this video, my small family home that I built in the world of Brychester, and that is where they currently live. So that is basically the backstory that inspired me to build this whole entire house. I say backstory, that is basically a current household update, if you want to put it that way. I mean, I say that, I have missed a lot out, and I'm telling you, I've missed a good 3-4 months of real time like work out of this storyline, but I didn't want to be speaking throughout the whole entire furnishing process of the inside of this house. But if you are genuinely interested in maybe just seeing some updates from this family, I would be more than happy to create a little Discord channel and just, you know, every so often send some pictures, send some screenshots. To be honest, I could probably go back to the very beginning and then start it from there, and then you kind of see, you know, Arabella, the toddler at the start, all of her friends, because she's now got her own developed backstory, which I won't go too much into, but like she's already got her friends and kind of like a potential childhood sweetheart and stuff like that, and I'm just so attached to them, and I love their backstory so much, and I have so much fun playing with them in my own personal gameplay. And so I just kind of wanted to build a house inspired by them, and then hopefully if you like the idea of this kind of gameplay, then maybe create some Sims and move them into this house and possibly follow along with the storyline. You don't have to. I say this for all of my videos, but if ever I've got a storyline, please don't feel like inclined to stick to it. It's just what I was thinking when I was building, and this was just very much inspired by a family that I've been playing with for some time in my own personal gameplay. But anyway, getting on from that, I'm finally talking about what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, already moved in onto the inside furnishing of this house. I've already done the kitchen, the dining room, the lounge room, I've pretty much done the whole entire downstairs at this point, and I feel really bad because I tried to purposely start the storytelling process quite early on, because where it's my own personal household, and there is a lot to it, there is a lot to unpack, I knew that I'd be talking for a while, and for somehow I have still managed to talk over the majority of the downstairs furnishing, but as you would have seen in the downstairs portion, I tried to make it as family orientated as possible, and what I mean by that is kind of implement small little things to show that it's a proper family house. So for example, downstairs the little hallway area also doubles up as where the mum would sit down and write her books as being an author, and so above the computer desk I placed down, you know, them little kind of like the little drawings that kids can do. Now I actually placed down ones that are from the Parenthood board. They're not the ones that kids can actually draw in the game, just because I couldn't find them in the debug menu. But I was thinking that maybe the toddler's gone to daycare and then they've come home and they've got this picture that they painted for their mum, and then I was also putting like some sticky notes on the wall. There's some like odd crayons laying about, and then in the downstairs lounge room there's also like a little teddy bear on the sofa and some like a toy box that's all like spilled out and it's a bit messy, and I just wanted it to feel like a family home, and I'm so happy with the way that this house turned out. But you can see that I've now moved on to the upstairs portion, and I just quickly did the bathroom. Again, in the bathroom I tried to implement little bits and bobs for family gameplay. So on the little bathtub area I made like a little stool, and then I put like a little sponge, a little ducky, and then, you know, things that the mum would use when, you know, toddler needs bath. They're the kind of things that they would need. But now you can see that I've now moved on into the first bedroom, which is the toddler's room. To be honest, this could probably be replaced to be the bathroom, because I'm pretty sure this is smaller than the bathroom, and the bathroom of this house, I would admit, it's quite big. But the thing is, I didn't want the toddler's room to be in that little area, because it's at the end of the hallway, and I thought, I don't know, I just didn't like that. And also I feel like sometimes with decorating bathrooms in this shape, I've definitely done some before in the past, but they're not the easiest, because where it's just like a rectangle, it's so hard to like navigate where everything should go. But in here I decided to try and make like a little changing table. So you can see that I placed down this chest of drawers, which is from cats and dogs, and then I sized down and then merged in this kind of little like seating area. I basically merged it in to make it look like, you know, toddler gets their nappy changed there, and then next to it I put down some like spare tissues and nappies and what I imagine to be like Sims version, like Sudocreme and stuff like that. And there is also like a doll's house in there, and then I think I placed down a potty into that room. But I do want to mention that when I was building this on the downstairs portion, I forgot to add in a high chair, and so if you do download this house with the gallery, just be mindful that there will be a high chair, and there also will be a potty in this house as well. And also actually one other thing that I want to mention, because I'm about to place some more into this bedroom. With the Cottage Living expansion pack, we've now got the ability to cross stitch all these different patterns, and if you go through the debug menu you can actually pull some out. But the thing is, when you put them out, they haven't got any patterns on them, they're just completely blank. Basically I placed some down onto the fireplace in the dining room, and then I'm also just about to place them down into this bedroom as well. I do want to mention I've already come into this house. First of all, it's been play tested, but if you've been here for a while, you're probably bored of me saying that, because I literally play test every single one of my builds thoroughly. But it's already been play tested, it all works, but I feel like you know that already. But I've already play tested it, and then I've also changed them little like the blank ones that you can see that I placed down on the chest of drawers. I've already got a sim to make some like quotes of them. I've got some that I've got like blueberries on, there's one with like a fox on. I've already placed them down, so hopefully if you download this house from the gallery, they're going to transfer over. I'm hoping that they will anyway. But anyway, as you can see, I'm just going around now and just finishing off this house, and that is basically it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. As always, you can download this build via the gallery. My origin ID is JessicapieYT, or you can search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedbuilding video. Bye guys!